Eleanor Hayes entered the dimly lit study, her fingers tracing the spines of ancient tomes. The air smelled of dust and parchment, each book whispering secrets long forgotten. "I must know the truth," she murmured. A faded parchment caught her eye, tucked in the corner, edges curled and fragile. She carefully unfolded it, revealing indecipherable symbols that pulsed with a strange familiarity. Her pulse quickened, and she whispered, This changes everything." Across the room, shadows seemed to shift as if aware of her discovery. Eleanor's mind raced, realizing the scroll could rewrite history itself. Every instinct screamed danger, yet curiosity propelled her further. In that silent study, she was no longer just a scholar. She was a seeker, teetering on the edge of revelation. The candle flickered, casting uncertain shapes that mirrored her growing obsession. Eleanor left the study and stepped into the courtyard as night fell. The garden was quiet, the moonlight painting silver paths across damp grass. Thoughts of the scroll weighed heavily on her mind. She whispered to herself, this could expose centuries of hidden truths. Every shadow felt like a warning, every rustle a hint of danger. Determined, she walked toward the library annex, her mind racing with possibilities. How could such ancient texts survive untouched for so long? Eleanor knew she was entering a web of secrets far larger than she imagined. Each step felt deliberate, a rhythm against the hushed night, as if the universe itself urged her forward. Danger lurked unseen, but curiosity had already claimed her. The ancient world was reaching through time to test her resolve, and she could not turn away. Inside the library annex, Eleanor's eyes scanned rows of dusty shelves. Every book seemed to hum with potential secrets. A faint scratching noise echoed from the far corner. Eleanor froze. "Who's there?" she asked, voice steady but tense. Silence answered. She approached the noise, uncovering a loose parchment hidden under a floorboard. Her pulse quickened. Could this be another fragment? Each clue deepened the mystery and amplified the danger. Eleanor knew she could not rely on others. This quest was hers alone. Yet instinct whispered that some knowledge was guarded, fiercely. The thrill of discovery mingled with fear as the room's shadows stretched ominously. One misstep could reveal her intentions to unseen watchers, and she felt the weight of centuries pressing down on her shoulders. Eleanor heard footsteps approaching from the darkened corridor. She tensed, instinctively clutching the scroll. A familiar voice called her name, calm yet wary. "Eleanor, be careful," said Marcus Bennett, 40, male, tall, wearing a dark coat, eyes sharp and calculating. Relief washed over her, mixed with suspicion. Marcus had always been cautious, but he also knew the stakes better than anyone. "I found something," she said, presenting the fragment. Marcus studied it closely, brow furrowed. "This is dangerous," he warned. "You can't face this alone." Eleanor nodded, realizing trust would be essential, yet uneasy. Shadows of the library annex seemed to shift, reflecting their silent unease. The night outside pressed against the windows, holding secrets as they debated their next move. They stepped back into the study, lanterns casting elongated shadows on books and furniture. Eleanor spread the scroll across the desk, tracing symbols with trembling fingers. "Every mark seems deliberate," she whispered. Marcus leaned closer, voice low. "We must document this carefully. Someone else might already know." The flickering candlelight threw dancing shapes on the walls, as if the room itself watched. Eleanor felt a chill but pushed forward, cataloging symbols and making notes. The weight of discovery pressed down, yet the excitement burned brighter. Time seemed to stretch, every second a balance between revelation and danger. They worked silently, a silent pact forming, driven by curiosity and a shared sense of responsibility. The night outside deepened, carrying secrets across centuries waiting to be unveiled. Eleanor and Marcus left the study under the cover of night, lanterns casting long shadows through the deserted halls. The city outside slept, unaware of the secrets moving in its heart. Eleanor felt the weight of the scroll, each symbol heavy with meaning. "We must find the library archives," she said, her voice steady but urgent. Marcus nodded, scanning the empty streets, eyes alert for any sign of pursuit. The air smelled of damp stone and rain that had fallen hours before. As they approached the ancient archway of the archives, Eleanor's thoughts raced. What truths lay buried in these forgotten tomes? Who else sought them? Every echo of their footsteps seemed amplified, a constant reminder that knowledge came with risk. She tightened her grip on the scroll, feeling a pulse of anticipation mixed with fear. Tonight, their search would either illuminate the past or plunge them into danger. The archives loomed, massive oak doors carved with symbols similar to the scroll. Eleanor hesitated, her hand hovering over the handle. Marcus gave a slight nod. Together, he whispered. They pushed the doors open, revealing an enormous room filled with towering shelves. Dust hung in the air, motes dancing in lantern light. Ancient manuscripts, scrolls, and books lined every surface. Eleanor's fingers traced the spines, absorbing centuries of knowledge. A hidden alcove at the back caught her eye, partially obscured by shadows. "This way," she said, signaling Marcus. Their footsteps echoed on the stone floor, reverberating like the heartbeat of the building. Every corner seemed alive, watching, waiting. As they approached the alcove, Eleanor realized that the scroll was only the beginning. The archives held answers, but also traps. Knowledge was a currency and danger, intertwined. In the alcove, Eleanor discovered a pedestal with a glass case containing an ornate journal. The cover was etched with strange glyphs that matched the scroll. Her pulse quickened. "This must be the key," she murmured. Marcus leaned closer, inspecting the intricate engravings. "If someone else is after this, we are not alone," he warned. Eleanor carefully lifted the journal, feeling an electric thrill. Symbols within glowed faintly, reacting to her touch. She flipped the pages, revealing diagrams and writings, lost to time. The air vibrated with history, each word a whisper of ancient knowledge. Eleanor's mind raced with implications, her eyes wide with wonder and caution. Marcus circled the alcove, alert for any movement. Outside, a faint sound echoed through the archives, reminding them that discovery came at a price. The night was far from over, and the secrets they uncovered demanded vigilance. Suddenly, a whispering sound emerged from the far end of the archives. Eleanor froze, clutching the journal. Marcus motioned for silence, eyes scanning the shadows. A figure stepped out, Cassandra Moore, 38, female, wearing a dark cloak, eyes cold and calculating. "I see you found it," she said, voice low and measured. Eleanor tensed. "Who are you?" Cassandra smiled faintly, "A guardian of truths you cannot yet comprehend." Marcus stepped protectively in front of Eleanor, his stance firm. The air grew colder, shadows stretching unnaturally across the room. Eleanor felt the weight of the scroll and journal in her hands, as if they were alive, demanding protection. Every heartbeat seemed amplified, echoing through the cavernous space. Cassandra's presence was imposing, reminding them that knowledge always attracted challengers. The night had shifted. The archives were no longer a sanctuary, but a battlefield of secrets. Cassandra circled them slowly, eyes never leaving the journal. "The scroll alone is incomplete," she said. Eleanor felt a chill. The Guardian's words hinted at hidden forces. Marcus whispered, "We need to decipher this before it falls into the wrong hands." Eleanor nodded, determined. They spread the journal and scroll across a table, comparing symbols and notes. Light from the lantern flickered, casting moving shadows that mirrored their urgency. Every symbol seemed alive, pulsing faintly as they connected clues. The air was thick with anticipation, danger, and unspoken threats. Eleanor's mind raced, weaving together fragments of ancient knowledge. Marcus remained vigilant, scanning the room for any signs of intrusion. Cassandra watched silently, evaluating them as if deciding whether they were worthy. Each discovery brought clarity and risk simultaneously. The night pressed on, knowledge exacting its price with each passing moment. Eleanor traced her fingers over the glowing symbols, heart racing. Marcus leaned close, whispering, Every mark tells a story, every connection reveals a path. The shadows in the archives seemed to thicken, as if watching them. Cassandra's gaze never wavered, eyes like polished obsidian. The air smelled of old parchment and candle wax. A distant gust rattled the tall windows, carrying a cold, urgent warning. Eleanor realized that time was slipping away. Every second brought them closer to uncovering truths that might destroy or empower them. "We have to decipher this tonight," she said firmly. Marcus nodded, scanning the room for interruptions. Cassandra remained silent, studying their movements, calculating every choice. The journal pulsed faintly, resonating with the scroll in Eleanor's hands. Knowledge and danger intertwined, a delicate balance. They were walking blindly. Outside, the night deepened, cloaking the city in shadow. Eleanor's eyes widened as she connected a series of symbols on the journal with the scroll. Marcus traced his finger along a map hidden in the margins. This could lead us to the sanctuary," he said, awe mixed with caution. Cassandra shifted slightly, a subtle warning: you tread on forbidden paths. Eleanor's pulse quickened. The risk was enormous. She realized their discoveries were not just academic, they were a key to something powerful, possibly dangerous. Outside the windows, rain began to patter softly, creating rhythmic tension. Lightning flashed, briefly illuminating Cassandra's calculating expression. The night felt alive, every shadow a potential threat. Eleanor inhaled, steadying herself, aware that the balance between revelation and peril was razor thin. "We move carefully," she whispered, determination etched on her face. Marcus nodded, his hand resting on the hilt of his concealed dagger. Cassandra's silence was deafening, a constant reminder of the stakes. A sudden noise echoed from the far corner of the archives. Eleanor and Marcus spun toward it, lanterns swinging. Cassandra's eyes narrowed. "You are not alone." From the shadows, a group of cloaked figures emerged, their intentions unclear but threatening. Eleanor instinctively stepped in front of the journal, Marcus drawing his dagger. "Who are you?" Eleanor demanded, voice firm. The leader of the group stepped forward, hood casting shadows over his face. "Seekers of knowledge or thieves?" he asked. Tension crackled like static in the air. The journal glowed brighter, reacting to the fear and anticipation in the room. Eleanor realized that the knowledge they were unlocking was more dangerous than they imagined. Every heartbeat echoed through the cavernous room, every movement amplified. Cassandra's stance shifted slightly, calculating strategy. Eleanor and Marcus exchanged a glance, silently agreeing they could not retreat. Lightning struck outside, casting stark white light across the room. The cloaked figures advanced slowly, uncertainty in their movements. Eleanor clutched the journal, sensing the energy within it intensifying. Marcus positioned himself between her and the intruders, muscles coiled, eyes sharp. Cassandra moved closer, her hand resting on a concealed artifact at her belt. "This ends tonight," she said, voice cold and precise. Eleanor felt a surge of adrenaline, fear mingled with determination. The journal's glow pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Outside, rain hammered the windows in chaotic rhythm. The tension was unbearable. Every shadow threatened danger, every sound a potential signal of attack. Eleanor whispered instructions to Marcus, careful to keep Cassandra informed. Strategy and instinct became their only weapons. The room was alive with anticipation, knowledge, and imminent confrontation. The journal reacted violently as the intruders reached the table, symbols flaring with energy. Eleanor shouted, "We can't let them take it." Marcus lunged forward, blocking the path. Cassandra stepped beside Eleanor, protective yet commanding. A surge of wind swept through the archives, extinguishing some candles and scattering papers. The intruders hesitated, momentarily overwhelmed. Eleanor felt a strange connection with the journal, as if it guided her thoughts. "Follow the symbols," she whispered to Marcus. Together, they traced a sequence that activated a hidden mechanism beneath the table. A compartment opened, revealing a small, ancient key. Cassandra's eyes widened slightly, even she was surprised. The intruders regrouped, but Eleanor and Marcus had gained an advantage. The night had shifted decisively. Knowledge had become a weapon, and the battle for it had only begun. Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra finally reached the hidden entrance beneath the archives. The key they had uncovered fit perfectly into an ancient lock, clicking open a trapdoor. Darkness spilled upward, a cold draft brushing their faces. "This is it," Eleanor whispered, heart pounding. Marcus stepped forward cautiously, dagger raised, eyes scanning the shadows. Cassandra's hand hovered over her artifact, ready to act. The air smelled of damp stone and old magic. Eleanor's mind raced, picturing the sanctuary that awaited below. Every instinct screamed danger, yet curiosity urged them onward. As they descended the narrow spiral staircase, the walls seemed to pulse with unseen energy. Their footsteps echoed ominously. Rain outside intensified, drumming against the street-level entrance. They were leaving the world above, entering a domain where knowledge, power, and peril intertwined. The sanctuary's chamber opened into a vast hall, walls lined with glowing runes. Eleanor's breath caught at the sight. The room radiated power. Marcus stepped carefully, scanning for traps. Cassandra's eyes gleamed with recognition and awe. "These markings, they're older than anything we've studied," she murmured. Eleanor approached a massive pedestal at the center, atop which rested an artifact that pulsed with energy. The journal reacted immediately, glowing brighter and humming softly. "This must be it," Eleanor said, a mixture of fear and determination in her voice. Outside, thunder rolled, shaking the ground slightly. Marcus and Cassandra flanked her, alert and ready. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, every shadow a potential threat. Knowledge and danger were fused here. Eleanor's hand hovered over the artifact, feeling its subtle vibrations. The moment felt suspended in time, as if the world itself held its breath. A sudden tremor shook the chamber. Eleanor steadied herself on the pedestal as glowing symbols flickered. "They're coming," Marcus warned, voice low but tense. From the shadows, the cloaked intruders reappeared, having followed them. Cassandra drew her artifact and stepped protectively beside Eleanor. The intruders paused, assessing the trio and the artifact. "Hand it over," their leader demanded, voice echoing ominously. Eleanor's pulse raced, fear clashed with resolve. The artifact pulsed violently in response to their presence, as if alive. Marcus adjusted his stance, ready to strike. Eleanor whispered to Cassandra, "We must activate it before they reach us." Cassandra nodded slightly, understanding the urgency. Every heartbeat amplified the tension. The sanctuary itself seemed to respond to the confrontation, a living sentient force preparing for the climactic clash. The artifact flared with intense light as Eleanor pressed it gently. Energy spiraled outward, illuminating the chamber and revealing hidden runes along the walls. The intruders staggered, momentarily blinded. Cassandra's artifact resonated, amplifying the power. "We hold the advantage," she whispered. Marcus moved to block any sudden attack. Eleanor focused on the symbols, tracing them with her mind as the energy hummed around her. The runes projected visions of ancient knowledge and forgotten civilizations, overwhelming yet enlightening. Thunder boomed overhead, echoing through the sanctuary. Every intruder's movement was cautious now, uncertainty spreading among them. Eleanor realized that knowledge was not passive. It demanded courage, precision, and unity to wield. Together, they were a force unmatched, but they had to act decisively. In the climax, the artifact erupted in blinding light, filling the hall with waves of energy. The intruders screamed, retreating under the force. Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra stood firm, absorbing the power without faltering. The sanctuary pulsed in harmony with them, responding to their courage and unity. "It's over, for now," Eleanor said, voice steady despite exhaustion. Cassandra lowered her artifact, a rare smile of respect on her face. Marcus exhaled, releasing tension that had built over days. Outside, the storm subsided, leaving the city silent under a calm night sky. The The trio had survived, knowledge preserved and power secured, but they knew this was just the beginning. The sanctuary had chosen them as its guardians, and the consequences of their discoveries would ripple far beyond the city. The sanctuary quieted, its energy dimming to a soft glow. Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra stood together, breathing heavily. They had survived the confrontation, but exhaustion weighed on them. Outside, the storm had passed, leaving a serene city under a moonlit sky. Eleanor traced her fingers over the artifact, feeling its subtle hum, now calm yet alive. Marcus scanned the room, ensuring no intruders remained. Cassandra examined the runes, deciphering patterns only she could interpret. The moment was heavy with reflection. They realized the power they had encountered was not meant for greed but stewardship. Eleanor spoke softly. "We've learned what we must protect, and what we must never misuse." Marcus nodded, his jaw tight but resolute. Cassandra's eyes softened, a hint of awe still in her gaze. Together, they felt the weight of responsibility pressing gently yet firmly upon them. The trio ascended the spiral staircase, leaving the sanctuary behind. The city's lights flickered faintly below, streets glistening from rain. Eleanor glanced over the cityscape, sensing a world unaware of the secrets below. Marcus let out a soft chuckle, breaking the tension, and remarked on how ordinary life seemed peaceful after chaos. Cassandra carried her artifact carefully, eyes scanning the horizon, lost in thought. Eleanor shared a fleeting smile with her companions, realizing how much they had endured together. Each step upward felt symbolic, leaving danger behind while carrying lessons forward. "This city doesn't know what's beneath it," Eleanor whispered. "But we do, and we'll guard it." The wind picked up, tousling their hair, carrying a sense of quiet anticipation for what was to come. Their bond had strengthened, forged by trials few could imagine. Back in the city, Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra parted ways temporarily to recover. Eleanor returned to her study, artifacts carefully locked away, journal open with notes to cross-reference. Marcus walked the quiet streets, reflecting on their mission, every shadow now a reminder of what they had survived. Cassandra visited the library's secret archives, cataloging her discoveries and ensuring the knowledge was preserved safely. The world seemed ordinary again, yet each of them knew ordinary was just a veneer. Their experiences had reshaped them. Eleanor whispered to herself, "The past always has its echoes. But we are the guardians now." The city continued unknowingly around them, unaware of the secrets sleeping below its streets. Yet the trio remained vigilant, prepared for any ripple of danger that might awaken. Weeks later, the trio reunited at a quiet rooftop overlooking the city. The sun was rising, painting the skyline in golden hues. They exchanged updates, shared findings, and silently acknowledged the trust forged between them. Eleanor held the artifact lightly, now inert but humming faintly with latent energy. Marcus rested his hands on the railing, eyes scanning the horizon for threats. Cassandra noted subtle changes in runes she had catalogued, quietly preparing for future mysteries. "We've grown stronger," Eleanor said, her voice steady. "Stronger and wiser," Marcus added. Cassandra nodded, adding, "and more united than ever." They shared a brief smile, a silent vow that no matter what came, they would face it together. The city sparkled beneath them, unaware of the guardians watching over it, a fragile balance maintained between knowledge, power, and responsibility. As the sun fully rose, Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra turned their gaze toward the distant horizon, knowing challenges lay ahead. They had preserved ancient knowledge and survived threats, yet the world remained unpredictable. Eleanor felt a quiet satisfaction, tempered by awareness of responsibility. Marcus glanced at her, sharing a nod of silent understanding. Cassandra held her artifact lightly, sensing the latent magic still pulsing within. Together, they embodied guardianship, knowledge tempered by courage, wisdom balanced with action. The city below thrived, oblivious to the delicate equilibrium they maintained. Eleanor whispered, "Our journey isn't over, but we are ready." The trio stood, silhouetted against the rising sun, a unified force of resilience and hope. Light spread over the skyline, marking both an ending and a new beginning. Weeks after the sunrise on the rooftop, Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra had resumed normal lives. But a subtle unease lingered. Eleanor noticed strange symbols appearing in her dreams, faint whispers echoing from the artifact. Marcus felt an unfamiliar energy in the streets, fleeting shadows that vanished when approached. Cassandra had discovered new runes in her archives, patterns she had never seen before, almost alive. Together, they convened at a quiet rooftop at dusk, scanning the horizon. Eleanor held the artifact, its glow pulsing faintly, responding to something unseen. "This isn't over," she whispered. Marcus nodded, tension tight in his shoulders. Cassandra's eyes narrowed, studying the faintly glowing patterns. Something had awakened in the city's depths. Their vigilance, once routine, now became a constant necessity. That night, Eleanor dreamt of a hidden chamber beneath the city, filled with shifting shadows and a soft, eerie light. Figures moved within, indecipherable and fleeting. She awoke, gasping, drawing Marcus and Cassandra into her study. Together, they analyzed the artifact, discovering a new, faintly etched symbol they had overlooked. Cassandra's fingers traced the lines, sensing movement in the magical currents. Marcus frowned, scanning the street outside as if expecting the shadows to manifest physically. "Whatever this is, it's reaching out to us," Eleanor said, her voice steady but concerned. Cassandra's eyes sparkled with determination. Marcus exhaled sharply, realizing the calm they had grown used to was fragile. The city's secrets were not dormant, they were evolving. The next day, Cassandra returned to the secret archives, following a new lead in the runes. She discovered a hidden passage beneath the library, its entrance cloaked in magical wards. Marcus joined her cautiously, noting that the wards reacted to their presence. Eleanor arrived shortly after, artifact in hand, feeling a pull guiding her through the darkened corridor. The walls were etched with runes that glimmered faintly under the artifact's light. The passage seemed alive, breathing with subtle energy. "It's like the city itself is calling us," Eleanor whispered. Marcus exchanged a wary glance with Cassandra. Step by step, they descended, each aware that what awaited them might reshape everything they thought they knew. Shadows danced along the stone walls, alive with secrets. Deep in the passage, they found an ancient chamber, walls covered in pulsating runes and symbols they had never seen. A central pedestal emitted a low hum, drawing the artifact's energy toward it. Eleanor approached cautiously, studying the interaction. Cassandra deciphered inscriptions suggesting this chamber was a nexus of the city's hidden magic, a place of creation and destruction. Marcus stayed at the edge, ready to react. "If this energy falls into the wrong hands, the entire city could collapse," Cassandra said gravely. Eleanor nodded, gripping the artifact tightly. The hum grew louder, as though the city itself were awakening in response. The trio felt both awe and urgency, realizing their journey was far from over. As they left the chamber, dawn broke, casting the city in a golden glow. The artifact hummed softly, as if acknowledging their discovery. Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra paused on the rooftop, looking toward the horizon. They had uncovered something far greater than before, a network of hidden power beneath the city that demanded careful guardianship. "The balance isn't just fragile, it's alive," Eleanor said quietly. Marcus nodded, jaw tight with resolve. Cassandra added, "And we are its stewards." Together, they faced the rising sun, understanding that the next chapter of their journey had already begun. Shadows lingered in corners, mysteries deepened, and the city thrived above, unaware of its vigilant guardians. Their bond, tested and unbroken, would guide them through the challenges to come. The city slept under a silver moon, yet Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra could not. The artifact pulsed rhythmically, as though responding to a call from beneath. Shadows moved unnaturally across the streets, stretching and twisting. Eleanor sensed a presence, a force both ancient and intelligent. Marcus tightened his grip on the lantern, scanning every alley for anomalies. Cassandra deciphered a new set of runes, etched into the artifact's casing, revealing a map of hidden nexuses throughout the city. "It's activating," Eleanor whispered, voice barely audible. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the floorboards beneath them. They understood that the city's hidden power was awakening, testing its guardians. Every instinct screamed caution, yet curiosity drove them deeper. Tonight would change everything. They descended into the labyrinth beneath the city, corridors twisting unpredictably, walls alive with faint magical energy. Eleanor led with the artifact, casting a pale glow, revealing symbols that shifted when looked at directly. Marcus remained alert, noticing subtle movements in the darkness. Cassandra's fingers traced the walls, uncovering hidden runes that hinted at the Nexus's true nature, conduits of immense power that could either preserve or destroy the city. "We must be careful," Cassandra warned. The artifact hummed faster as they progressed. Shadows converged into forms that were almost human, yet distorted. Eleanor's heartbeat quickened. The pulse of the city beneath them was strong, almost sentient. Every step brought revelation and danger in equal measure. At the labyrinth's center, they discovered a vast chamber filled with interlocking runes floating mid-air, spinning slowly. Eleanor stepped forward cautiously, artifact reacting, light growing stronger. Marcus felt a low vibration through his feet. Cassandra's eyes widened at the complexity of the magical network. "It's a living nexus," Cassandra whispered, voice reverent. The chamber pulsed rhythmically, almost breathing. Symbols formed patterns that mirrored the city above. Eleanor extended her hand, letting the artifact's light merge with the energy, sending waves of illumination across the chamber. Shadows reacted violently, darting toward the trio but dissolving upon contact with the artifact's aura. They realized they were not merely exploring. They were communicating with the city's hidden life force. Suddenly, a surge of energy erupted from the nexus, throwing the trio against the chamber walls. Eleanor shielded the artifact, its glow flaring wildly. Marcus steadied himself, scanning for threats as the shadows coalesced into figures resembling previous guardians of the city, their forms ethereal and imposing. Cassandra shouted, incantations to stabilize the energy, her hands glowing with magical traces. The Nexus's pulse synchronized with the artifact, creating a wave of illumination that lit the entire chamber. Eleanor felt a connection, understanding the city's hidden guardians and their purpose. "We are not alone," she murmured, awe and fear intertwining. The chamber calmed, but the presence remained, observing them silently. As the energy settled, the chamber glowed softly, runes harmonizing with the artifact's pulse. Eleanor, Marcus, and Cassandra understood that the city's nexus had awakened fully, recognizing them as its stewards. Outside, dawn broke, casting the labyrinth in golden light. "This is just the beginning," Marcus said, voice steady yet charged with anticipation. Cassandra smiled faintly, her gaze lingering on the glowing patterns. Eleanor felt a surge of responsibility and courage. The city above remained unaware, its heartbeat now intertwined with their actions. They had become guardians not just of knowledge, but of life itself. Shadows retreated into corners, leaving a calm that was powerful yet fragile. The trio looked toward the horizon, ready for the next challenge, aware that the Nexus had set a new course for them all.